Hello, everybody. Good day to you all. How are you all doing? So good to be here with you for the third part in this three-part series. Today, I just want to check in with you all. Just let's say hi, chat in the chat room, put our energy into the field. And today we are on the show Reptilians and the Shadow Work, guiding over galactic speciesism. And as I've been sharing, I'm in Thailand, so it's morning here. Woke up at 6 a.m., just flooded with downloads and just information that wants to come out. And then again, just like yesterday, after all this information coming up, just decided to put it to the side and to observe the thoughts, observe the feelings and the emotions in my body, and get to the place of observation rather than the place of needing to convey, because that's the energy that I'm working on in my own personal life. And I feel that is needed for this is just to be present with whatever is going to be experienced today so that we could fully get the depths of this. And the reason why so much is coming up is because I feel this is extremely important. And the more that while we've been in this process for the last 3 days, right? We went for 2 hours and 15 minutes the first day, to almost 3 hours the second day. This has been like an online retreat, to be quite honest. And I didn't even think that I thought it'd be like 40-minute episodes. And we've been in a retreat together, going through this experience, unveiling and unlocking parts of ourselves and ancient wisdom, learning so much more about the vastness of the universe and our connection to ET beings. And then today is that day where we're going to be going deeper into this awareness and the implementation of it. If you haven't been here over the last 2 days, you can go to youtube.com/portal to ascension. It's over there. And what I shared at the end of the last episode was that today we are going to be conveying information, and I want to keep everybody's talk. We're not going to go as long as the last couple of days, hopefully an hour and 15 minutes tops. And I want to keep all of our talks to 10 to 15 minutes, but that's not including any experiences that we might facilitate. When Bridget will be facilitating something, I'm not sure if Lorraine wants to, or she's just going to speak about her experiences, and then for myself as well. So the way I want to do it is first I want to talk to you guys because, when we talk about the shadow work, and when we say reptilians and the shadow work, that's an extreme oversimplification, right? The reason why I have that in here, reptilians and the shadow work, is because obviously we're speaking about reptilians for the last few days. And in many ways, the negative polarized reptilians, we talked about a lot about positivity. We're talking about the wounded ones that came here and maybe implemented some sort of energy, have given us the experience for us to go through this darkness and this shadow work, right? But shadow work truly goes beyond that. The reason why we started this show, and if you guys just saw in the beginning, if you were here for like 10, 20 seconds, the reason why I started with the yin yang, right? And I said, what did I say here? Take a look at this yin yang. This, in essence, represents the darkness and the light, the shadow work in itself. The meaning and the beauty of just that symbol in itself really represents a quote that I came up with not too long ago. And the quote goes, the most unconditional thing the light ever did was allow the darkness to live within it. The most unconditional thing the light ever did was allow the darkness to live within it. And you can say that the opposite way as well. And we'll get into diving into a little bit and dissecting that. But today I want you guys to think of this, okay? What do you want to bring to the surface? What is ready to be put into the event horizon of the black hole before we go through the event horizon ourselves into the next dimension? What are you ready to send to the singularity, to the source, without judgment, without resentment? What are you ready to gratefully let go of? I want you to think about that. And after I do my spiel here, I want us to start putting that into the field together and writing that. So just keep that at the back of your consciousness or at the forefront right now. See what comes up. I want to start this as well by speaking about the symbol Om and the Gayatri mantra. I want to start with the mantra here today. In ancient Vedic scriptures, where Hinduism eventually came from, the sound Om was the sound the universe made once it was created. It's the oscillating sound of the universe, the Om frequency. And the first mantra that the universe came up with was the Gayatri mantra. And since today we're speaking about the root of darkness manifesting into this world and even the roots of evil and how that came about, I wanted to go ahead and start by saying the Gayatri mantra. So we have the Big Bang, right? And ultimately, what that really was a singularity manifested into infinite possibilities, right? Infinite potential. And the scientific way, we speak about the Big Bang. Metaphysical way, we talk about the cosmic egg. It's the same thing. That if you look at ancient scriptures, the cosmic egg cracked open to allow the eagle or the duck to fly and flap its wings and create infinite realities and worlds and dimensions. And then the Gayatri mantra in ancient script in Sanskrit scripture says is the first mantra that came after the symbol Om. So we're going to start with that right now. So welcome you guys. You can just hang out, chill there, or you can close your eyes. Om Bhur Swaha Tat Sarvitarvareniyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Diyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Bhur Swaha Tat Sarvitarvareniyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Diyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Bhur Swaha Tat Sarvitarvareniyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Diyo Yo Na Prachodayat. So I have a theory about darkness that I've been contemplating this for quite some time. And being in the Scorpio energy myself, I really have gravitated towards darkness in general, but not darkness as in evil, but just even my poetry, which hopefully I'll get to some today and say some. It's the darkness of space and the black hole. And I feel this theory is divinely informed because it's been coming to me over the years. But it goes like this: that in this physical universe, in the constructs of these dimensions, say that we go up to 12 dimensions, maybe 13th is the void and just the infinite potential right there. When we have the physical universe, we have darkness and light, right? We have stars, we have the galaxy, the universe, the blackness. We have white holes, we have black holes, we have darkness and light, and there is no polarization. There's the duality of the two, but there's no polarization of darkness is bad because it's just space. It's a black hole. Is a black hole inherently bad? Is the sun inherently good? It's the pure potential, right? And when the infinite singularity, right? So let's say that we all started from a singularity, the infinite singularity. And if you connect it to the Big Bang, the theory of the Big Bang, when the Big Bang or the sound or the vibration in the beginning was the word manifested and exploded into creating all these worlds. What came out of the singularity? The singularity created duality. The singularity split into two and became darkness and light, masculine and feminine, and eventually coalesced and grounded into this energy where we now have good and evil, bad, all these dualities. But the question is, do you think that the singularity, call it God, source, creation, whatever it is, do you think the singularity judged one part of itself over the other part once it manifested into duality? Did it love its light side more than its dark side? Did it split, the cosmic egg split, allow for darkness and light to come out of it, and then say, actually, I don't like the other part of myself, I only like the light? Or did it love itself both unconditionally? So much so that it allowed both of its children, both of its counterparts, the lightness and the darkness, to experience itself infinitely. And this is now where we get to the infinite potential. What is the purpose of life? What is the reason for existence? And we spoke about that a little yesterday. On the grand scheme of it all, could the experience be just to experience, just to have the infinite range of what it means to experience? And now this gets into controversial waters, right? Because now we're speaking about, well, if the reality of this the singularity exploding into duality is to experience, that means that all experiences, lower astral realms, what we call demonic energies, atrocities, abuse, all of these things are game in this reality of experience, right? So, and then my theory continues. So, if original source, and I'll get to like a story that kind of like mirrors this, if source wanted to experience and also gave everybody the ability to experience, well, in specific dimensions, free will. Now we get to a point where source has manifested into physicality, and these physical beings are now allowed to express their own agendas and their own intentions on the original intent of source. We all have that spark of source to create. We want to be created gods. We're all attempting to create an image. Once we become sentient, we want to create. But when we split from that, then we became these beings that now had our own thoughts, our own beliefs, our own intentions, our own agendas. And I feel that that is what we're in essence are doing on this world. We're implementing it. That's what's happened with different extraterrestrial worlds, including the reptilian worlds. So a good story here, and I just want to take a pause and see because I just went right into it. I want to see everybody talking here. And keep the interaction going. I would love to see what you guys feel about what I'm sharing here and what we're going to be sharing over today. So now I want to speak about this the snake in the Bible connected to the reptilian terms, the reptilian and the serpentine energy. The Garden of Eden story with the snake in the Bible is an archetypal and could also be a literal um, story. It seems that this story has been taken, and the whole concept of history repeats itself, going through cycles of time. Maybe, in fact, this story as well. That it seems the Garden of Eden story might be a story that's related to the Sumerian scriptures and the Garden of Eden and Babylon and the Anunnaki story. And then there's also a more ancient story than that, another seeding of Earth. Is this kind of like the story of how duality gets seeded and how we go through these cycles of an evolution of consciousness into a higher understanding spiritually, and then we fall from grace into this world of duality? Because if you guys have read The Prism of Lyra, and again, I shared that before, it's one of my favorite books. I feel this story right here I'm going to share with you really explains the darkness and the light and this connection to source. So in the Prism of Lyra, we have fast forwarding most of the story here, but coming to Earth, we have the seeding of Earth, one of the seedings of Earth. We have the Lyrans, we have the Syrians, and we have the Pleiadians. The Lyrans and the Syrians had come down to Earth, and then they were attempting to genetically modify the modern man on Earth. We've heard the story many times. They wanted to genetically modify that human in order to create a more advanced being and then incarnate their own souls to have that experience here. And after galactic wars, disturbance in Lyra, the Lyran beings were excited for this experience because they wanted to create a Garden of Eden, a fifth dimensional paradise, a reality of duality where we can live in singularity, a reality of duality where we can still live in the oneness, but we exist in this dualistic world where we can experience a full range of experiences here. And as they came to Earth and started doing this, they realized that they were not able to actually modify the genetics entirely of the modern hominid on the planet. The reason for that was that the Pleiadians had already been on this planet. And if you read Barbara Messiniak's Bringers of the Dawn, in that story, it speaks about how the Pleiadians were the original Earthlings. These are obviously Pleiades have many races, but these specific beings had actually come and inhabited Earth before they left to the Pleiades, and they had already been tampering with the DNA on Earth. And there was a code, basically like a firewall in the DNA of the modern species on Earth. So the Lyrans and the Syrians, they couldn't actually do any mutations without getting the assistance of the Pleiades. So they called on the Pleiadians and they asked them to come down and assist. Reluctantly, they didn't want to at first, but they were convinced. The Pleiadians, the Syrians, and the Lyrans, they all began to do this genetic experimentation on Earth in order to create a more advanced fifth dimensional being and allow themselves to incarnate into it. The Lyrans were more evolved in dimensional aspects, and the Syrians were more not devolved, but they were evolved, but they were more into a world of a free, more into a free world reality than the Lyrans were. The Lyrans started deciding that they wanted to create a specific reality on this world and impose it onto humans. And the Syrians soon realized and said, well, when you're doing that, you're actually violating their free will. We're creating this reality in a free will universe, and you're dictating what these beings are going to do and how they're going to live, not giving them the experience of the free will that they want, that they should have. So the Syrians, with their connection to the source consciousness, spoke to source and said, hey, the Lyrans are attempting to violate the free will of these beings. And to put a long story short, what I got from the story is Source shrugged its shoulders and said, whatever it will be, basically. That whatever experience happens is supposed to happen. Whatever darkness comes from it, whatever thing happens from this, it's okay. And what I got from that was that the connection from Syrians to the source and the communication was like, hey, these guys are doing this. Are you going to do something to stop it and stop that, the violation that is occurring here? And in Source's eyes, the violation was also a part of the original intent of Source to experience itself infinitely. Even the imposed violation was to experience itself in any way possible. Because if you stop the violation from happening, if you stop from the free will from being imposed upon, you are basically stopping the range of frequency on Earth, and Source knew the bigger picture of what was going to occur. And that gets into amnesia and the darkness and our experience of that, right? And us transcending it. So the Syrians, they decided to take it into their own hands. They came to Earth and they basically said to the humans, or they gave them the choice of what I would say the blue or red pill. You have the choice to leave the garden and to experience the full range of what it means to be human in this dimension, or you can stay. And what did the humans choose? We chose the duality. Now this is also the Garden of Eden story. The Lyrans are God, and the Syrians is the snake. The snake in the Bible went up to the Adam and Eve, right? And obviously, the story is would have to get into the whole thing of what that really means, because it's more like tribes of humans than actual people. And went up to them and said, "You guys can choose which way you want. Do you want to eat from the apple of knowledge, the tree of life, and get all this information yourself and figure it out yourself, or do you want to continue down this route?" And what do we choose? We chose the duality. But then, as we chose the duality, we stepped into amnesia. We were in a place of knowing, we stepped into amnesia. Slowly but surely, that story became demonized. Because when we got to this world, we started thinking, like, why the heck would we choose this? This was imposed upon us. We were manipulated. We were tricked by the snake. And that is basically the story in which the serpent energy, whether it was a serpent or serpentine, became demonized as well when it comes to the Western world. So are these archetypal energies, right? The serpent energy, and it also represents the shadow work. Now we're in a time here where we're in the dragon year, right? Next year, the snake year. We shared about this yesterday. So this is a great time for us to start bringing things to the surface and using the fire of the dragon in order to basically break through from that. And then next year, the archetypal energy is us shedding the layers of what is all on top of us so that we can get down to the core of who we truly are. And this right here is, I feel, is the real healing work. We're getting over judgment of ourselves. Everything is a reflection of what's within. We're subatomic particles. We are all vibrating the same. On the subatomic level, this phone is made out of the same energy as I am. Just like take a moment to think about that. What is this reality? Who are we really? Is this some holographic projection of consciousness? Is this some coded reality that we've been infused with the consciousness and we're experiencing like that? What is really real? You know what I mean? And if the universe is infinite, how come we can only fathom the finite? But what we can fathom is the infinite division. Our minds know you divide one, you get a number. You divide that number, you get a number. You divide that number infinitely, you'll always get a number. We can get that, but we cannot get the external, the reflection opposite of that. Well, what's outside that? What's outside that? What's outside that? Well, when does it end? It's got to end eventually. It's because all of it is a reflection of the subatomic division within us. It is. The stars, space, the universe, the ETs, and all of these things playing out in the cosmos are literally experiences for us to have a better understanding of who we are. And as we start understanding who we are and we truly see them as that, that's when we start moving into this next dimension. That's when we start moving to the next reality, which is why all this stuff is coming right up now, which is why we're in the year of the dragon, why we're in the year of the snake. It's time to let go and to move on. So I want to now ask you these questions again, okay? What do you want to bring to the surface? Okay, we're going to start typing it in here. I want you guys to now, if you're feeling compelled to, I would love for you guys to do it. Let's make this like a workshop, okay? Because everything we're going to put in the field today, we got, we've already had a few thousand views on the videos in the last couple of days. So not only are the people here going to be a part of this, but there's going to be people watching this for a while. We're going to put this on a podcast. We'll get more people interacting. We'll keep the ripple effect going. I want you to tune in, take a moment. And actually, I'm going to ask you these questions and we'll take 30 seconds of silence. And before you react to this, right? Before you react to this, I want you to put it in there. But actually, pause that. There was one other thing I want to share. We're going to go into that in a minute. I just want to share one thing before, one more linear aspect. We heard about the reptilian brain, okay? So here's just some information I want to share with you about the reptilian brain. It's the oldest layer of the brain, and it's composed of the brain stem, the medulla, the pons, the cerebellum, the midbrain, the globus pallidus, and the olfactory bulbs, the structures that dominate the brains in lizards and snakes. So just in case you're wondering what that really means. The lizard brain also focuses on habits and memories to make processes automatic. So it creates linearity and control. It's really good for that. This could be helpful as always putting your keys in a certain place, or as unhelpful as creating unhealthy responses to triggers. Okay, so the reptilian brain is very reactory. For example, feeling sad leading to food binges, or feeling stressed making you want to do something that's a negative vice for yourself. Our older lizard brain parts keeps our bodies working and providing basic survival motivations, while a newer mammal brain region improves our emotions and memories. So there is no judgment here. Hope you guys are seeing this. The lizard brain really actually helps us become the humans and gives us the animalistic instinctive side that we need. It also helps with reactions, but the reactions and the triggers can carry over to emotions. But it also is the part that if something is flying your way and you have a reactory response to get out of the way, if a car is coming down the road and they didn't see you and you see in the corner of your eye, you jump out of the way. This is the part of the brain that helps us survive. In the face of trauma, the reptilian brain needs to release energy to carry out its physiological survival responsibilities. So when we get traumatized, it needs to release energy. This cycle can become interrupted when the limbic system holds a memory or emotion related to the prefrontal cortex. So one more part here about this part of our brain. The reptilian complex is said to control all of the instinctual and impulsive actions, while the neo-mammalian complex is responsible for keeping the primitive instincts constrained. An example is controlling the impulse of eating. It seems that if one is hungry, then it means the reptilian complex is commanding the body to eat. However, an individual has the rational choice to not eat when hungry, and this rational thought is said to be controlled by the neo-mammalian complex. This model suggests that these two structures are in a perpetual battle to control the body. I won't say that. That's Wikipedia saying that. I would say that they're working together. So I'm providing this context, and the container I want to create today is the non-judgment of this part of ourselves, the non-judgment of all reflections. And again, I'll say this is not with complacency, this is not being with and docile, this is not looking at things and atrocities in a way where we're accepting any of that stuff. This is about ourselves and our own inner work, and that's what today is all about. And you can see here in this part it said the reptilian complex is said to control all the instinctual impulsive actions. So now think of a lot of instinctual and impulsive actions that we need on Earth, right? Think of what we need in order to be able to just survive. And it really does help us with that. And it is actually a part of the brain that reptilians and lizards had. So it is a literal actual part of the brain, right? If there was a time where humans evolved from an ancestor that also evolved into reptilians and lizards, and there was, again, this is another show, there was a trajectory of evolution on Earth, and then there was an implementation and a genetic mutation of the modern species on Earth, maybe all of them, or at least us, right? In which we had that divine spark put in us as well. The God part, the animal part, the human part, working in harmony. That's what we want. We're not trying to go anywhere. We're not trying to leave this planet. We're trying to bring heaven to earth. And we're not trying to forego our humanness. We want to embrace that humanness. So now getting back to these questions, and again, I'm going to say this to you guys. We'll take 30 seconds. I'd love for you to go ahead and put whatever you're feeling in the chat. Then we're going to move into a little bit of breath work. I'm going to play a video that I use every morning. We'll do some triangle breathing just for one round, which will be like a minute long. And then we'll move forward from there. So tune into this. Again, what do you want to bring to the surface? And I like to say it in that way rather than what's negative in your life, what are the pains in your life. What do you want to bring to the surface? What do you want to put in the event horizon of the black hole and send back to source without judgment and without resentment? What are you ready to gratefully let go of? Not like, get the heck out of me, I hate you, right? What are you ready to gratefully let go of? I'd love for you guys to go ahead and start putting it into the field. Let's get this energy flowing here and share. I'll give you guys 30 seconds to start. Just tune in. If you want, don't share yet. Take 30 seconds of silence. And again, for everyone tuning in, we're going to be having some of these moments today. This is workshop style. So I'm going to be quiet for 30 seconds and then start putting everything in the room. What are you ready to let go of? What are you ready to bring to the surface? That's how I like to say the best. All right. So thank you so much for putting this in the field here. Let's read some of this. So we have release the fear. Okay. And we'll say it slow, like feel. Let's feel what everybody's putting into this field. Okay. Let's all tune into it for each and every one of them. Because I'm sure we can relate to all of them, like release the fear. I can definitely relate to that. Grief, anxious thoughts, my need to control, heavy heart, and grief again, sadness, the suffering of the entire collective, the suicide impulse to end it all, division, PTSD issues, hate, shame, guilt, mistrust, and sadness, lust in all its many forms, inability to cry since childhood, fear of altered states and being behind in life, separation consciousness in all its forms and adopted programs, including scarcity, lack, limitation, and poverty, judgment, release my physical pain, obesity, fear of disappointment, disappointing people that I want to let go of, any judgment of self towards towards others, abandonment and intense feelings of homesickness, betrayal, judgment. The saddest thing about betrayal is that it never comes from your emotions, and abandonment too. The us versus them mentality, fear, resentment, PTSD, release sadness, humanity, anger, addiction, replays of hurts or traumas. And I'll just leave this for 30 more seconds. As more come in, we'll share some more. For me, I had anxiety most of my life, depression a lot of my life. Still have some anxiety I want to release, lack of confidence I want to release, comparison, comparing myself to others. Those are things I want to release. Let's give it a few moments. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and play this video, this breath work, and this is called triangle breathing. He's going to explain it in the beginning, but I'll go ahead and just share it as well. That we're going to take we're going to basically do we're going to breathe in for 2 counts. We're going to hold it for 2. We're going to exhale for 3. It might be 1, 2, 3, but he's going to share it anyway. And it's going to go something like this. In, hold, out for 3 or 4, whatever he says. We'll do this for a minute. And I just invite you all to take part of this. And if you can, this morning, if you're like somewhere where you can't do this, I actually play this all the time without even actually doing it, and just listen to it like a meditation, listening to the breathing, and that just does something to your conscious mind as well. And we're going to start as we're doing this. This is the process of bringing things to the surface. The breath work is the process of bringing it to the surface, and we hold all of what I've been sharing here in all what everybody is sharing here in the field, in the collective field. I want us to envision this huge energetic bubble with all of these put in there. And this energetic bubble, right? There's a huge, massive black hole in the center of our galaxy, and it's beautiful, and it's the seed of God, and it's there for us. We're going to, at subatomic hyperspeed levels, send that bubble with all of these things into that black hole, into the singularity, and back to source to be neutralized. And again, without judgment, without resentment. We have here some more hurts and traumas, earth, nature, exploitation, the hiding of knowledge, letting go of others' unrealistic expectations. All right. Okay, so everybody, let's just go ahead and take a moment now as I go ahead and share this video. Start to get comfortable in your seat. Laying down is okay as well. And let's see how long we're going to do this for. All right, this whole process is going to be about 4 minutes long. And there's multiple rounds, and I'm going to end it at round 1. So get comfortable, and here we go. I'm going to remove my video, and we're going to play this.
All right. Welcome, all you beautiful breathing people, to another guided breathwork session. In today's journey, we'll be focusing on extended exhales, breathing in the form of a triangle. So we'll start by inhaling for a count of 2, holding for a count of 2, and then exhaling for a count of 4. And each round will be followed by breath retentions on the exhale, helping us calm our system even more. This is a beautiful technique that will calm your nervous system, relieve any anxiety or stress, while also helping you regain focus and concentration. So find your way to a comfortable seated position with your back straight and a gentle smile on your face. And we'll start by exhaling completely empty. And we'll begin with round number 1 in 3, 2, 1, 2, hold, 2, 3, 4, 2, hold, 2, 3. Beautiful. Big full inhales, belly to the heart. 2. And letting go of all tension, all stress, and all worries on the exhale. 2. 2. Continue with this rhythmic breathing, 3. Being present with each breath. 2. And observe how the mind begins to slow down, 3. Along with your heartbeat, 2. And everything else that's going on, 2. Connecting deeply to the breath and to yourself. 2. Beautiful work, everyone. This will be our last breath. 2, 3, 4. Now take a big inhale through the nose, hold for a few seconds, and we'll exhale halfway in 3, 2, 1. Let it out. Relax for this 45-second breath retention, allowing everything to slow down and becoming fully aware of your body. And now exhale everything you have left as we take a big inhale through the nose. Hold. Enjoy the stillness and calmness of the mind. And we'll all let it out with a big sigh in 3, 2, 1. Let it out. Beautiful. check in, see how you feel. Now we'll exhale everything. Round number 2.
Take a moment right now just to feel the energy in your body. Whether you were doing this experience or if you weren't, just go ahead and just feel, because we're going to move into the next phase of this now, and we're going to begin to send this energy to source and then do some galactic healing work. So take a moment to just feel the energy in your body. And that is also a part of the shadow work, is not to run away from the impulses, not to run away from how we're reacting to things, but to feel the energy in our body. What does it feel like when you want to be impulsive and reactive? What does it feel like when there's anxiety in your body? Do we react to that and try to create a distraction? Do we jump to our phones? Do we make a phone call? Do we put on the TV? Do we have different ways in order to not sit with ourselves and to not feel what is actually occurring in our bodies? Because if we took some time to really just feel where it's at, we could start learning why it does what it does. And instead of trying to run away from the discomfort, finding a way to really have compassion for that discomfort. A lot of times we want to be happy, we want to be in joy, we don't want to feel uncomfortable. So when this discomfort comes up for us, it makes sense that we're going to want to do something else that spikes those dopamine and serotonin levels, that gets us to a place that we can actually just be okay and just continue with life, especially in this world where we have so many things that we need to do, so much productivity, so much to do just to survive, to have a roof over our head, to go to work, to hustle, right? Which sometimes we don't have time to even reflect on how we really feel. So feel what is going on inside you now. And as you're feeling the energy, I invite you to tune in more into the blood flowing through your body, the heartbeat inside of your body, the inhale and exhalation of your lungs and the air flowing throughout your body. Any sensations, itches, heat, cold, anything. Just see if you can observe. And it's okay if you need to scratch yourself, whatever, but see if you can just observe all of this and create a more sense of embodiment as we're really connecting to our own body here. And now let's move on and look at the bubble in front of us, the energetic bubble that we created before we started this experience. And everybody's comments and what they put into the field: complex PTSD, anxiety, mental abuse, being lied to, procrastination, lack of self love, self doubt, grief, replays of hurt, the exploitation of earth, the hiding of knowledge, the us versus them, the division, the fear, the resentment, the sadness, the addiction, the abandonment. What happens when I say these words? And imagine this bubble just holding all of what we shared today, not just for ourselves individually, but for the whole collective of humanity. These feelings are universal. We all feel them in our own ways. Some feel more than others, some feel don't feel some feel the other ones. And this energetic bubble is there absorbing and collecting all of these frequencies that have held us stuck into this dimension, held us captive to ourselves, held us stuck into this matrix that no longer serves. And now we're going to shift into the galaxy. In the center of our galaxy is a supermassive black hole, the seed of creation, the seed of God, the origination of the source point that created this physical galaxy. And in your mind's eye, see this energetic bubble travel at hypersonic speeds to the center of our galaxy, going through all the constellations, through Orion's belt, through the Pleiades, traveling, making its way through the prism of Lyra. And now together, let's release this energetic bubble into the black hole. As we're releasing this bubble, cultivate gratitude, thoughts of being grateful for those experiences rather than having to just get rid of them. Because those experiences gave you the depths of your soul. And even though you may see a lot of things that came up in your life that created a lot of hurt from this, in many ways, we have the ability to become the victim or the master. Are you choosing to become the victim of these frequencies of emotions, or are you choosing to become the master? Because these emotions that we've said, these feelings, these concerns that we've put out there, if we truly learn the lesson from them and we come to the other side, we become the teachers of how to transcend these things in the first place. And we become so much more stronger, such a more depth of knowledge, a depth of experience, which is one of the reasons why we're here. So release it there. Now, lastly, everybody, keep your eyes closed. We're going to take 3 breaths in, and in these 3 breaths, as we close out this experience here in this part of the segment of the show, we're going to take actually multiple breaths. On the first breath, your heart is going to encompass the whole of your country or your landmass, wherever you're at. The second breath, your heart will encompass the entire planet. On the third, the solar system. On the fourth, the galaxy. And on the fifth, the universe. In your heart is the frequency of harmony and love, the pure high heart. The intention for this event is to permeate this feeling of harmony throughout the cosmos, to just be one of the many people out there on this planet that are contributing towards galactic community, galactic harmony. And so let's do that with ourselves here. So I invite you to close your eyes and just breathe normally. And on the next inhale, take a deep inhale in. And now imagine your heart frequency spanning out your aura, encompassing the entire landmass of what you're in. Deep breath in through the heart. And expand your heart to the entire planet Earth. Breathe out. Deep breath in. And now your heart and your heart frequency around the entire solar system. Exhale out. Around the sun, all the planets, the asteroids, all that is in our solar system. Deep breath in again. And this one here is for the galactic community. So make it count, everybody. This is for our galactic community, galactic harmony, galactic peace, the release of galactic trauma. Exhale out the frequency of peace and harmony, acceptance and judgment, no judgment, pure love. And on this last one, we extend this out to all the galaxies, all the nebulae throughout our physical universe. Exhale out, and your heart is now, the entire universe is inside of your heart. The entire universe is inside of your heart. One last step. Let's move forward through the portal. The stargates are open, guys. The wormhole is here. And all the chaos, all the duality is just things coming to the surface that needs to be expressed and experienced so that we can truly go through this portal and arrive into another dimensional experience without the judgment of the past one, because without those past experiences, we wouldn't be who we are. So whenever you're ready, go ahead, open your eyes, come back to the present moment. I used to feel that it was I needed to release the stories, let go of the stories. And you've heard that a lot of times, let go of the stories, let go of the stories. And recently, someone said to me during a ceremony that it's not about letting go of the stories because the story define who you are. Those experiences that you had define who you become. Those lessons that you received eventually turn out to be things that you can grow from. So it's not about releasing and forgetting the stories. It's about having reverence for the stories without the judgment of self and the judgment of the others of that past so that we can grow and learn and live in the future. Because we're not going to go into this next dimension just by forgetting everything that we experienced. Everything we experienced is the stepping stone, is the foundation for that future. All right. So thank you for tuning into that, being part of that experience. Let's get some, if you guys want to go ahead and leave some comments, and then we're going to move into Lorianette because I think it's now 4 a.m. for her. Sorry, Lorianette. Ran a little late here. And then we're going to get to Bridget and close out for today. So if anybody wants to share anything that came up, we'll just give it a minute here. All right, so let's move on, everybody, and let's keep going. So we're going to go ahead and bring on Lorianette now, and keep sharing, please do. And then when I have some breaks, I'll go ahead and read that as well. So let's bring Lorianette on. Hey, Lorianette.
Hey, what's up? I'm listening, even though I'm very tired, but I was fascinated by all this meditation. It made me realize a lot,
Mm-hmm.
as always. And the shadow work is a never-ending process, I think. The
Yes,
healing.
exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
You
I
think
used to
healing?
feel that healing. Go ahead.
No, no, go.
No, I was just gonna say what you just said. Like I used to feel that healing was a destination, and I realized that it comes back in spirals, and it's not about trying to be healed, but it's about like almost observing that process rather than being triggered by it. You know, it's
It's
always an
not,
ongoing process.
yeah, it's not linear. It's a constant process of letting go, learn something, integrate, and then go to the next and next and next. So it's
Mm-hmm.
incredible because tonight I wanted to go with the flow for a little bit, and I found some. We are totally connected because I found some messages that I was channeling and received by my star family, and it was says that all the suffering, all the wars, all the catastrophe, misery was made to speed up that one liberation. All the revolution are made to speed up that one revolution. All the lies are made to force that one truth. And I completely decide to speak about that without knowing that you gonna do this shadow work. So it's funny because we almost tuning in the same energy. So I don't know. Personally, when you ask what to release, um, I want to be very open about that. The first things that came to my mind that I think is linked to the topic of today are really let go of the fears. So our minds, our 3D mind, learning about difficult experiences. So about difficulties and suffering and it's made in a way, our mind, it's made in a way that learn throughout sufferance, sometimes not necessarily because it's right, but because it's think that the mind think that if you experience a bad thing once, it will be repeated. So it's very hard to unlock, to let go of this block of fear, because the mind gets stuck thinking that the difficult or the traumatic experience will be repeated. So that's why it's we sometimes need and have the help and the energy of these stars entities, these allying in the process. So the universe itself, the source, and ultimately the star beings that are just the personification of that energy, but are like star seeds, are guided and sent here by this energy, by this source. So there's some kind of help has been given to us by the source, helping us to with I don't know, maybe with I can give the example of the retrogrades of planets that happens right now, and every time the universe sends us a lesson throughout a retrograde or something like that, I remember that we've been guided, like taken by hand by the universe to throughout repeating even good experience, even let go and understand that not necessarily a bad stuff will happen again. And universe, it's kind of tough in that. So if you don't let go that block, it will keep repeating and repeating. So your mind's will be convinced that you have to go in another cycle, another. I don't know if it's understandable what I'm saying, because of the late hour here in Italy. It's almost 4 a.m. So forgive me, but
Okay. Elena,
what
did you
what
just say that? Did you just say that? Can you explain the part again? So you said that your mind can convince you that you need to go through the cycle again. Is that what you just said?
Yeah, because the mind learn and think that uh, the suffering will be repeated. So that's why I get stuck. So the 3D mind, and then the soul, of course, know perfectly that it's not like that. So in this 3D world, we need some kind of help, and sometimes universe gives us this help by send waves of frequency, electromagnetic fields, um, like even throughout solar, how you call it in English, the solar radiation,
So
the
solar radiation, solar flares.
yeah, solar flares, sorry. Uh, those energy are all helpful for the release and to unlock and to this to change these patterns. So we've been pushed to let go and to integrate and to learn and to have new experience or new, maybe even bad stuff to happen until our head, I don't know how you say in English, but sometimes you have to uh, hit your head very hard to understand something. So for some people like me, uh, my mind is very the 3D mind of a Virgo, for example. It's very difficult to let go some kind of fears, because it thinks that the same things will be repeated again. So throughout suffering, because that's how 3D minds works. So you learn throughout experiences. So if you've been traumatized by something, your minds will think that the same things will happen again, even though there are some kind of techniques to fix that kind of thinking, but basically the 3D mind is stuck because of that, and the only help we can have is by the soul, the higher self, and higher self and the source and universe itself. For me, for example, as I said, it's been shown me that I'm guided, so I don't have to do so much by going to, yeah, I can focus on the thing I want to work on, and I want to let go. But the best teacher is life, and the flow, the natural flow of life, the universe and energy and events in my life that for it's impossible to not correct the line, because the universe sends you exactly the lesson, the things, and it's very hard to not understand that these are guides from the universe to help you to let go some kind of fear. So that's just wanted to say, because I want people to know that we are not left alone in this process of letting go and in this quantum jump. I don't know if you call it like that. In this raise our frequency to let go a lot of heavy shit. I can say shit. So a lot of heavy stuff. So I don't know. What do you think, Fam?
Thank you for sharing that. And Bridget, do you want to come on too and have a conversation? Are you ready for that? Okay, I'll bring you on a sec. Let's bring you on now. So actually, it's interesting what you're sharing about the mind and connection to the soul, because I would consider myself spiritual rather than any religion, but I definitely gravitate towards Buddhism a lot just because of a lot of components in there and what Buddha's beliefs were. And Buddha said that when you die, that your mental state is what dictates your next incarnational experience. And so if you say like, so that's why like even like when it comes to like original sin and being confessing and then having that clean slate, that actually has a mental component towards it. It's definitely been diluted with organized religion, but basically you get to a point where you can do all types of atrocities throughout your life, right? And that also gets to the experience of like atrocities are part of the experience as well and accepted. And then you can come to terms and come to peace with it in the last part of your life. And that peace in your mind, in your mental state, because your harmony soul is already in harmony. It's a frequency anyway. That peace, you could have been one of what we would consider one of the worst people for 80 years. And that peace that you cultivate in your mind will dictate your next experience and where you choose to go, right? So it's interesting. Do you want to maybe speak on that a bit? Like go deeper into what you're feeling about that?
Me or
Me
Bridget?
or
Well, Bridget, you can go first. Yeah. What are your thoughts?
It's so funny. So I have so much experience with people that are no longer in a body, right? I've been connecting with them since I was a little bitty one. And I have experience in the gray world, which most people call the other side. My team has taken me there a couple of, well, more than a couple of times. And what I observe and what I've connected with my soul team about and other people is what we believe we're going to have as an afterlife, we create for an afterlife. So it's a continuation of this life's experience. This is also why you have people that are from, time and space. We know that's not, there's not really a past, present, or future. But this is also why when you go to places like England or islands where people believed at some point in time that spirits could cross water, you'll have this like large amount of people who are asking to be crossed over that are no longer in a body because they've been just waiting for something. They didn't take their light or whatever. So what I've really experienced is a lot of people go to the gray world And the gray world is sort of where we work out our kinks, right? So if, say, maybe you had a thing with food that you just couldn't get over, right? Like you were beating yourself up about it. It's not that you had a thing with food that was good, bad, or anything. It's that you felt you were less than through it. What I've observed there is like the refrigerator door in the place that's like the carbon copy of where you lived might be really tiny and you can never get into it. It's another way for us to continue the sort of punishment of ourselves in the gray world, the blue gray world, but it also has things that are really beautiful too. So I've also experienced sort of heavenly like places where people go. But mainly what I experienced these days are our luminous ancestors. So people that have let go of all of the things that they were holding, and they're in the light space, which is what most people would call heaven, I guess. But I think it's really just source. And the way our consciousness reflects as it goes down into all of the different personas that we've ever lived, we can direct our focal point to them. So if we're connecting with someone that's still in a body, right, in a physical body, from the luminous, spirit world, so to speak, we are just directing our attention and focus into the persona that was created during our lifetime to connect and communicate, which is why they feel really different. So my suggestion to all of us, the reason I'm even sharing this is my suggestion is look at where you're holding yourself in suffering and pain. Look at where you're holding yourself in judgment and let it go. The sooner we let that go with ourselves, the sooner we're freeing ourselves, but also we free others in that process too, because where we judge ourselves, where we abuse ourselves are the same angles that we abuse others. And that we psychic attack people with our thoughts or, strong emotions and all of these different things that most people aren't really conscious of. Right. So yeah,
Wow.
it's all, to me, shadow work is all about inner work. Shadow work is more like the deeper traumas to me. Inner work is something we can do on a daily basis anytime we observe ourselves having a moment with ourselves that has been adopted or created from other people's opinions, from sort of maybe misplaced beliefs that were created, and from things that we've adopted from other people's behaviors as well.
Yeah.
And there's more, but yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I feel
Totally.
that. So,
Yeah.
you're saying, you go first, Lorena.
No, go.
Okay. Well, are you sure? Do you have something to share?
No, go first. It's not.
All right. So, you're saying let go of judgment of self, and as soon as you said that, I was reflecting on, like my relationship with my father, and in many ways that I was like the rebel, like when it comes to the most like regular Indian conservative people, which is most of the people from India, like none of them could get me, none of family members, none of the other kids. I was not like any of them. Didn't go down that line. And now later in my life, I see that a lot of things that I did were parts of my dad that he didn't like about himself. And so what was happening was he had a judgment of these parts of himself that he tried to suppress and hide. And when he saw it in me, he took it out, and he actually hated those parts of himself. So even though he loved me, he portrayed a lot of things that made me think that he hated me because he wasn't willing to accept that. Right. And I've seen that in myself as well. Like, something I'm really aware of, so I don't act upon it, is because I had that as a template growing up. It's easier for me to not like a part of myself and then project it on others, right? I was like so socially anxious most of my life, hardcore insecurities. Like I would come up with whole conversations with the barista at Starbucks before I even went up there because I didn't know what to say when I first got up there. That's how crazy it was, right? And I projected that on others, thinking that's how other people were. I projected my insecurities on others, which actually affected my relationships in life and made me feel more disconnected and not able to connect to people. So I just wanted to mention that because that's basically what you're sharing there, right? And then the whole, also the other part you shared was the mental state of what we believe we have is what we'll see. And I work with a lot of NDE people. We've done NDE conferences every year. We live stream the largest NDE conference in the US. And the stories that I hear, and so many people become more religious after the NDEs. It's everyone, spiritual people, yogis, everything. But the amount of people that see Jesus, oh my God, I can't even tell you, right? And yes, Yeshua probably existed and all this stuff, but it's almost like a reflection of what they've heard through media, through Bibles and scriptures. And so it's like, could it be that this is like some advanced code and we are the coders? And what's happening is we've created a vision in our head. And when we transition to the next reality, that code that we've created manifests. And if that's the case, is it that like we are doing this so unconsciously that we don't realize how like majestic we are, how advanced we are, that we're consciously not creating? And this gets to your work, and everyone here is like, how do we get to the point where we start consciously creating that reality rather than just like using our superpowers in an unconscious way?
This is one of my favorite things to talk about. I mean, other than our star family, that's where my heart is, but also consciously we're creating our reality. And I've been practicing this, and I have one main thing in my world that I'm still working on, that is like that thing that keeps me so in touch with this, I think. And I'm not saying I'm perfect at life at all. I just say some things will flow really naturally for us when we start to do this. And then there will be some things that it's like, oh my gosh, how in the world, can I make this round peg fit in this square hole, right? Like that's what it feels like, right? So what I want to say is, just from my practice and what my team has brought through, we get to choose in every moment. So the beauty of what you just shared, Neil, about your journey with your father is that was learned behavior through your father that you actually took and turned within, right? And you began to really just perpetuate that in your life, right? Like create the cyclical thing that Lorianette was speaking about earlier, right? That unconscious and conscious patterning that loops in our reality based on our beliefs. And when I say the stories that we tell ourselves, I'm not talking about experiences, right? The stories of our experiences, but those thoughts that we think that create the reality. So we jump to conclusions. We do, like you even said, you thought everyone else did life the way you did, right? That's a story, right? That you were telling yourself, that these people, everyone around you does it in the same way, right? So those stories that we tell ourselves, and we can hear that in each other in a quick heartbeat when we start listening to our friends and we have a focus with them. And I love to do this. Our Ascension Catalyst family does this all the time for each other and with each other. Like if we have a focal point that we're focusing on, say, I want to stop saying the word I'm sorry, right? It's something really simple, right? I want to remove that from my vocabulary, but it's ingrained, right? So anytime, you say the word I'm sorry, right? And this is a very simple way of starting, right? Someone else will just bring it to your attention, right? And it helps to do that. But we're in this moment right now where we are deciding to be super conscious beings. And we're deciding to awaken our slumbering aspects of consciousness, those things that run on autopilot behind the scenes. And when we start to consciously create our reality, it starts with observation and being aware, right? Being aware, period. And a fast way to start that is just to request to your high self that you become aware of whatever it is, that it is brought to the light of your attention, meaning it comes into your mind as an aha moment or a very obvious observation. So this sort of work that's where we start. And then when we take the judgment out of observing our reality, We go into a neutral love and above state within ourselves to observe what's happening. And everything reflects back to us, right? I believe that everything in our reality is coming through us and reflecting back to us. So if we have something that we don't enjoy, that doesn't feel good, rather than push it away, we can literally look at it and see, kind of trace it back to what we've done within ourselves, whether that be feeling or thought or whatever, belief, all of these things that has created this reality and brought it back to us, this experience. And this includes connection with other people as well. So when we go into that neutral love and above space, we're not judging things. We can analyze if we want, but we're really just observing what it is, the layers of the experience, and how we played a role in it in some way. Even if it's a very subtle, like unconscious creation that has been running on repeat in the back end, like a program that's just running underneath the surface, we still have the potential and the option of ending that program when we go into neutral observation mode. And it sounds really like you have a bunch of steps, but it becomes super fast where you can go, oh, I see this thing that's happening. This is not at all what I expected. And it's not what I prefer, right? Sometimes the things we don't prefer bring us lots of information about ourselves and bring us lots of information about the world and other people. So I wouldn't toss that out just willy-nilly without looking at it. But we get to start to mold that, right? And do the inner work as it comes back to us of, where am I feeling unloved? That I'm bringing in people in my life that don't value me, don't respect me, don't love me? Where am I feeling unworthy? And how can I give that to myself in my daily life in a way that I am feeding that part of myself that desires to be whole and knows it is whole, bringing it all back into the wholeness, even those things that I don't like about myself. Why do I not like them, right? How can I bring those things back into the wholeness? Has someone else told me it is, this part of me is not worthy, right? This part of me is unlovable. This part of me it shouldn't exist because it's not their preference and their experience, right? So then we get to bring it back in. And this goes with every single thread that connects to any archetype that we're playing in within the human experience. And then we get to decide, which I think is so empowering, because we get to go, okay, I see this and I see how this is connected. This is connected to, what we call past lives. This is connected to ancestors. This is connected to my galactic family and my galactic lives. This is connected to the people that have raised me. This is connected to all of my friends. We get to look at all those angles and then decide what we still want to play in. And if we don't want to play in it, then we do the inner work to set ourselves free from it, right? But setting ourselves free, a lot of people think it's like removing things. I like to sort of see it as, and I'll talk about releasing, but really when I talk about releasing, it's more like releasing the hold I have on it, the resistance or attachment. But I like to see it as bringing it all back into the wholeness that we are. It wouldn't exist at all if it wasn't something for us to experience, right? And to grow and expand through. So bringing it back into the wholeness, it starts to frequency match with those parts of ourselves that are really light and bright and clear, free of all of these blockages or whatever people are labeling them these days, and just bring it all back in, because there's not a part of us that exists that isn't amazing and perfect and divine, right? So I don't know. I could talk about this forever, Neil, but y'all probably have something you want to say too.
Beautiful share. Lorena, do you want to share anything?
Yeah, I love that. What you say, Bridget. I agree that the inner work is. I always says to even here when I do my loopies on try to share my experiences to focus more on the inner work, because even my star team always says, my star family always says, everything starts with your inner work, because if you don't know who you are, you cannot help other, you cannot manifest yourself in the world in the right way. At the same time, there are two things that I wanted to say before I have to go. So I will try to say it, and I will try to mix it with what Bridget says, even though it's not my mother tongue. So I have a little bit of difficulties because of the late hour. But when I started, I mentioned that I have here a paper where I have received times ago channeling, and I choose this page before to know that Neil gonna speak about certain things when he do the introduction. So it's funny because we are vibing. Our soul, I think, agree to do this in and give this kind of inputs tonight. So one of the most important message I shared before was that all the darkness, all the lies, all the catastrophe was meant to help to the liberation. And every evolution stage, I'm reading that from Italy, every evolution stage is usually characterized by a worsening of everything that's no longer needed, that has to go. So it's funny because even in the process of releasing and healing and do the inner work, sometimes we think that the pain or what we feel or the situation is sometimes it's all in our head, sometimes it's all living in this, we suffering in our minds, but it's very influenced by how we see, we perceive, our backgrounds. But really, some tough situation I'm still living in my life taught me so much. So I wanted to give to the people this message that everything that has to let go has to go through how the worsening of a situation in order to make room for something better, for a new version of yourself. So, for example, I do this example. A friend of mine who has lost her father 4 years ago and her mother a few months ago, and have this house of her own. She always pay the rent, etc., etc. She always paid the fee because it's her property. She inherited the home, and life one day decided that they told basically that she will never hand the payment. So she decides at few months of the loss of her mother that she has to let go with a lot of pain and grief this house. And immediately, because I've been through something similar, I recognize what the universe has to tell her. That situation, that pain is old. This is the old skin, the snake that shed the skin. This is the old skin of you. You have to go and go with to something better. So what you perceive as a pain or a worsening of a situation, sometimes it's happened because it's because of your evolution. So without that worsening of the situation or that grief or even a loss of a people you love or a trauma, you can evolve a lot. So it's not necessarily to feel pain to be happy or to grow, of course. But I'm referring to people who, for a certain reason, decide in this incarnation to experimentation of to do this experience of some kind of events. And sometimes the people judge these events without knowing that it's just a flow. We don't have to focus too much on that heavy situation, but let go with the flow because as something to teach us. And so even the inner work and the shadow work sometimes is, for example, in these days, I have made the example of the retrogrades. What you, Bridget, says about to like detach and observe from a neutral space, and then observe and learn how to communicate better or fix some kind of stuff. I always did this, but it's like every retrograde something triggered me, and even though I was going so well, the universe keeps saying, no, no, you have to be careful of this stuff or this stuff. And I'm grateful for that, because I'm feeling guided. I know that someone up there are guiding us through and guiding the collective throughout this even planetary events. So that's it's something I wanted to connect with the all that shadow reptilian stuff, not reptilian itself, but the experience of the darkness in the past, because I think even I wanted to make this reflection. Sometimes I heard, and I just wanted to speak about that and say what you think, what you, Neil and Rita, think about, you know, some star seeds, for example, experimentate, do the experience, sorry, of going somehow in mission or in astral plans and say, and saw horrible stuff in the underground bases and stuff like that. A lot of starseeds I know told me about that. Me personally, I have experience in the past with that kind of stuff, and a lot of division in the community push you to like be. There is a stigma if you speak about darkness, but it depends on how, because if you see darkness with fears, you observe from a space of division. So in that case, Orion energy and my Neteru family, that they are guardians, so they told me this and helped me to integrate another aspect that I think might be helpful to leave to the people to reflect on it, to think about it, and maybe give another perspective. Sometimes when we go in certain dark place, like you know, dark timelines, for example, on working on healing some stuff in the astral plans or in missions, I don't know how you call it. Sometimes you go to help, and sometimes it's different. Some people go there to do the experience and then share with others, and at the same time help in the same way, basically. But there are different starseeds with different there are different energy and different purpose, and sometimes we judge the experience, says, oh, because you experience darkness, it means that you have a bad karma, you did nothing, you have to work on everything inside yourself. And sometimes I've met beautiful beings, beautiful people, beautiful souls, pure souls that has a good level of evolution, that are deep in this kind of matter, dark matter, because the source send these kind of beings, this kind of energy, to heal with their good frequency those places. So sometimes I wanted to help people to understand that no matter if you experience some kind of bad experience with military, with abduction or the dark agenda or something like that, or dark timelines, it not necessarily means that you have lost in the wrong place. Sometimes you are there to work because your star family sent there in mission to help and heal certain places. And sometimes you just, for example, I have friends that do this on a daily basis. So they go to sleep, they go on work in timelines and fix those timelines and then come back. And I think, Neil, I heard even about the story of that woman who calls something like Hobbit, that speak
Yeah, she's
about
in the
this.
room. Snow Hobbit. Yeah, she's in the room right now.
Yeah, I love that energy because she's very real on this matter, and I resonate in some things she says. And for example, Neil, my friend Marta, for example, she has a different purpose than mine, but she is from Orion Belt, and as an Itaru, as a guardian, sometimes she gives them, and I do this sometimes, to go in certain dark places to saw what happens, try to help, try to recollect the information, and then do something about it. And at the same time, with my human body, my human vessel, if I do this with my Orion body, it would not be the same. Doing this with my human vessel helps me to transmutate the pain I saw, to integrate it, and then share with the collective the healing I do on myself, on things I saw. So I do this integration work. I transmutate every time some kind of aspect I come in contact with. And then they told me, so my master family explained to me that by doing this work, some of us starseeds, like Orion starseeds, for example, Arcturians, or those, some Pleiadians that are working on some kind of guard missions or mention, they are very focused on go in certain the best the sometimes it's the most horrible dirty place to clean, okay, energetically, and coming back in our human vessel, integrate what you saw, uh, doing that healing on yourself, and then you liberate others. That is another mission for some starseeds. So sometimes I wanted to reassurance some starseeds that told me, oh, because I speak about my abduction experience or my encounter with this, that maybe they say is an abduction, but maybe they were on astral and they cannot recognize what's happened, or they were
Interesting. Yeah,
um,
well, let me just jump in for a second. Quick time check, guys, because we need to be done in about 20 minutes, because I have to leave. Bridget, I'd love for you to respond to this, and then we'll move on. And just to let everybody know how it's going to flow, I'm going to do a poem, and then Bridget, I'd love for you to take the last 15 minutes, share whatever you want, and just take us on a journey, and we'll close out, okay?
Ooh, I love that. Yes. 100% agree. It is so time for our community to let each other off the hooks. We all have so many, there's such a variety of experiences that we all have. And it's interesting. I've been playing on X a little bit lately, and what I'm hearing is the people that are having the positive contact experiences, and you guys, I don't really like positive and negative. I'm just going to use these words now. Look at the people that are having, intense, that's what I usually use, intense experiences, easy experiences, intense experiences. It's like so much judgment going on between all of that. And really, experiences are so personal. We have so many things that we're doing in all of our lives and expressions, right? And this one human expression amongst all of our earth expressions, it's such a small amount compared to how our soul is really expressing everywhere else. I feel like we can't judge another person's experience. There are starseeds who have more of the warrior flair to them in the human expression. Everybody has purpose, and everything about us is purposeful, right? So I 100% agree with you on that. Like, I have not had a life that is all rainbows and butterflies as a human. And I know that I have lives outside of the earth expression that have that as well. And I have seen worlds where people are enslaved, things like that, right? I know this happens. What my purpose here in this life is to honor everyone where they are and remind us all that we are in unity and love, and that we come from this, right? That we're all connected. but that doesn't mean I don't see certain things that are happening, right?
Right.
So using myself as an example, right? I have spent a lot of my life as a spiritual warrior leading into my Starseed awakening, right? And I have shifted because I'm being called to anchor in particular frequencies during this period of my life, during this moment of humanity's evolution and consciousness. But there are others who perceive the light and dark struggle in a different way than I do now. They see it as a struggle and as a fight and as a war. I sort of have a different perspective of it now, but I spent a large part of my life in that, light versus dark sort of experience, right? And how I see it now is it's all they're two sides of the same coin, right? And we get to choose, we've, even as starseeds, with our variety of flavors that we play in, there's a degree of us straddling the fence of two realities right now. Well, I mean, there's countless realities on this planet, but two collective realities, right? And I sort of see it as old paradigm and new, not judgmental about the old though, right? Just, is this serving us as individuals and as a collective anymore? And if it's in the no category, then to me it's old paradigm, right? And what will serve us in the highest going forward, right? And each of those choices we make on a daily basis in our life, right? With every single thing, we have the ability to make those choices. And so when it comes to the Starseed experiences, I've talked to so many experiencers like us, Starseeds, and people who don't identify as Starseed over the years. And what I would say is, if you're having an experience that doesn't feel good, see if you can opt out of that contract. Ask what it's about, right? Tap into your ability to receive information and ask. I have a contract nullification and release on my website for free that anyone can use. If you resonate with it, feel free to use it. It works across the board. I love to renegotiate contracts. It's something I like to do personally in my own life. I'm like, I want to dot all those I's and cross all those T's while I'm here and be done with it, right? But yeah, I love what you brought in, Lorianette, and I feel like it's really important to remember there are so many different starseeds here that are doing work, and all of us have purpose, and everything that we believe is purposeful. And I think it's also important to recognize within our own journeys that how we perceive our experiences and our reality is always colored by our perspective lenses. So anything that we believe, anything that we're thinking, all of those things that we're holding is now coloring those experiences that we're having. And any experience that we're having through fear is a direct indication to go within and look and see. Now, experiences with other beings that are maybe don't have an emotional body or seem careless, I feel like is sort of a different ball game, so to speak, than what I'm referencing with everything else. We can have experiences with beings, my team has said, that are not on our soul team collective, through that sort of opting in by not saying no kind of thing. And that's what I believe in renegotiating. I believe 100% we can renegotiate those and nullify those contracts that were sort of entered into by the unaware, right? Someone that's unaware that there is an opt-in or out energetically that is happening, and not opting out because they were unaware. Now they're having these experiences, right? And I believe even in those, there's probably a lot that the soul is getting. But if the human, because we have free will, does not want that anymore, I believe in renegotiating or releasing those contracts.
Orion told me, my Orion family always told me the same. So they don't have the permission to interfere if you don't allow them. Even though as fully, I don't know, like guardian mission, you have to, you have different way of seeing things. So you can do it without feeling pain, or you can do it in a neutral space. So for me, it's not painful or difficult anymore seeing certain stuff. I feel that it's right to do it, but I can come back home. So come back to my 3D life and understand now and put in the right place the stuff I saw. But for what concerns the interference beings or not or unaware beings, I totally agree. And it's one of the things that they insist the most. So we have the power to decide everything. So we can decide whether we wanted something or not. And every day we do a decision, we do a choice, or what we want to be, where we want to go. So it's a constant grow. Even in the channelings, we thought we are now maybe come to a good point, but in a few years maybe we can grow or we can go back. In it depends on how we vibe, on how we work on ourselves. So it's always a constant inner work. So I completely agree with you.
I also think it's important to, we could do inner
Beautiful.
work until
Thank you so much,
we're blue
Lorena.
in the face, and we could do inner work until we're blue in the face, and literally work on ourselves until we die, until we leave this body and transition, right? So I also think it's really important, if we enjoy that inner work and we're really, getting into it, to do it, right? But it's also really important to celebrate all of the growth and expansion that we have, and to understand that we are whole and divine and everything just as we are, right? And I feel like that's the next phase that we'll go into as a consciousness community, is that the inner work, it'll be like, well, I mean, I've done all the things. You know what I mean? Like, I've done all the inner work I could think of doing, right? And now I just want to enjoy living. And I just want to enjoy, this heightened, expanded version of myself that I am. And I feel like we should be doing that. We should is the word I don't like to use. We can do this now, right? We can enjoy the versions of us. And I will say, some of the things that we dislike the most about ourselves, often I find, are part of our superpowers, and they fit in somewhere with something that we are using as a specialization and mastery from other lives and expressions. So that thing that we were told or shown by another person as less than within us is actually part of a bigger part of us that is specialization and mastery and powerful and affects powerful change in the world.
No, that's a whole other series right there. To get into that topic, right? I would give some superpowers, because just as you're saying that, I'm thinking of a lot of things. Yeah, a lot of things. I'm liking this format. I would love to do this. There's a lot of energy to put this kind of thing on, but every few months maybe we can do something like this, And so we have to move on now. We only have a little bit left. And Lorena, I'd just like to say that from what you just shared right now, one thing that really stuck out as well is like really thinking about shifting the pain from this is pain, this sucks, to how can I evolve from this? What will this help me evolve into? And I just want to say thank you so much. Thank you for coming on at 3 a.m. I would feel bad, but I know you don't sleep anyway, so you're always up. No, but I love you so much, and thank you for coming here.
Now almost 5, but I don't know. When I speak with you, I go in alien mode, so I find the strength. But after we disconnect, I'm like a mummy. Like tomorrow will be a Walking Dead.
It's daytime. It's daytime on your planet. So you're good. All right. Well, I love you. Have a good night, and we'll talk soon.
I would love to do this again. I enjoy so much sharing with you. So thank you, Bridget. Love your energy.
Thank you, sis. Love you.
Bye.
Thank you for being here.
All right. So Bridget, we have I'm gonna skip the poem Okay, can you hear me? I
Neil, I
think
don't
we
know if
lost.
it's you that's. Are you
Yeah, I got
rubber banding or
disconnected.
am I? I don't know who is. What did you just say? Because you were stuttering on my
Can you hear
side.
me?
Yeah, I can
Okay.
hear you now.
I'm back though, right?
You're back.
I was
Yeah.
saying I'd love for you to just take over for the last 10 minutes. Just be mindful
Mhm.
of the time because I do need to leave at the hour. And
Okay.
whatever you haven't shared that you wanted to share for this, but also you spoke about galactic speciesism in your past thing, and that's a part of here. So maybe spend a couple of
Mhm.
minutes into that, and then just take us on a journey, and let's just close this out with an experience.
Mm. If you guys haven't watched that presentation, I think that was from Ultimate Starvings. So you can find it on PTA. You can also find it on my website. Um, oops, I don't know what I'm doing on my screen. I'm not going to be able to see the chat for a minute. I just want to say I love you guys, but it is so important for us to remember who we are on so many levels, really anchor that in. And one of the things that will assist us in our in when entering the greater galactic community, so to speak, the greater universal community, is to release the other than. Release the judgment of something looking or feeling so strange, and to really dive deep into our discernment. One of the things about our galactic family is a lot of them do not look humanoid. A lot of them that do look humanoid could be considered very creepy looking by Earth standards. But who they are at the core essence of their being is this beautiful, expansive, highly benevolent being, right? So one way we do that is releasing that judgment with other people, with ourselves first, always, and then starting to release it with other people. And then I like to do this thing that I heard a channel do a while ago. I was watching YouTube, and she talked about looking at insects in a very close up, and looking at strange beings here on Earth in a very close up way, or as close as we can get to them by image or actually in person, and shifting into that neutral observation and into love. What can I find about myself, about another, about these beings, our co-inhabitants, whatever? What can I find within myself that brings up that gratitude and that love, and reminds me of the unity that we all hold with one another, that we are unity. We're playing in the illusion of separation and forgetting. So how can I bring that in on a deep level? And it is time to let go of that. Racism is a perfect example. Where have we adopted things? I'm even clearing things from my vocabulary coming from the South. You can imagine we have a ton of different things that I'll say it and I'll be like, oh, I've never, it's been like, I don't know if I've ever said this, but it's in my language library, right? In my consciousness, because I've heard other people say it. And my intention is to have that come to the light of my awareness, often through my mouth, speaking it aloud, so that I can feel the vibration of it. And then I do the clearing on it. I'm like, okay, we're going to clear, cancel, and delete this in my language library. I'm going to take all of the energy out of it and put it somewhere else. But these little things build into bigger things. So if we're feeling other than by the way someone's culture appears to us, look at that. Where is that coming from? Because it's not coming from the core of our soul that is connected to them, right? So the more we can remove these strands or ropes or whatever frequency that is connecting us to that collective agreement, that is generally programs that are running through all of our consciousness, that is repeating patterns in human life, that is being taught to us by generations and generations of people. The more we remove that from ourselves and just opt out by removing the energetic charge from it, right? And clearing it out of us, the more we're clearing it and dissolving it and deflating it from the collective consciousness as well. And a lot of us starseeds have come here to do this on one level or another, if not all of them. So to be connected in the way that we want with our galactic family, it always starts with us and what we're doing here and how we can be connected with them, because they hear, see, and feel in very deep ways. So if we come into a room full of galactics that look really strange, everything we're feeling is loud, clear, and obvious to them. Everything we're thinking is being projected to them. So, I mean, I don't know about you, but for me, I don't want to be the person going, oh my gosh, that is so weird. That is so strange. And freaking out, right? I want to be the person that's like, wow, you're beautiful. And let's just go into connection, right? So I think that's what Neil was talking about. If not, Neil, you can pop in and say something. But I invite you to, watch that presentation and go on the journey of the visuals that I bring in through it. Just go on the journey of it with me, and with everyone that's already watched it, and shift your perspectives as often as you can into that neutral love and above, that openness, that reminder that you are connected to me and everyone else. And there is no such thing as other than, whether it's something you're looking at yourself as or someone else, on earth or beyond. What did Neil say? I see his name. Yeah, okay, good. Beautiful. You guys, I'm blurry. I've been working in computer, all different screens for so long. So you see me put the glasses on and off. That's what's happening. Okay, so if everybody could just put your attention and focus on your hearts. And we've had so much happen in tonight's event with each other, and last night and the night before. And I just want to remind us to breathe. And anything that you feel as you're breathing, pay attention to what has come up over tonight's event, over the last 3 days, if you've attended those with us. Anything that you're ready to just release, we're going to bring it back in the wholeness. And this is a way to do some of this inner work that I love. So look at how you feel about that part of yourself. If you put it in the chat earlier, close your eyes. We're going to breathe in light as we do this. Breathing in 50 times more light than air. Exhaling it as if it's multiplying. And this light is the crystalline diamond rainbow light. Some people call it diamond light, like Stephanie Lodge, one of my friends. But just breathing it in. This light is intelligent and it's moving throughout your body and your energy body. This is my personal understanding of this, understanding, is that it is unconditional source love light. So very intelligent consciousness. And as we're breathing this light in, feel those parts of you that you feel like don't belong. Let them come to the light of your awareness. Don't push them up. Don't push them out. Observe how deeply you feel those feelings about yourself or these aspects of yourself or other people. Sometimes it's easier for us to see these things that we believe about ourselves in the way we believe and see other people first. Not always, but sometimes it is. So observe that. How does it make you feel when you focus on that within you? Those things that you put in the chat that you released, if there's any bit of them left in you after the beautiful experience Neil brought us into, or something else, look at them now. See them for what they are. Where did I begin this journey with self-loathing? Where did I begin this journey with feeling other than, less than, with feeling insecure? Where did I begin this journey with whatever it is? And if you don't get an immediate answer, that's okay. You're not doing anything wrong. Most of us will start to feel it, know it, see it, hear it, sense it in some way. Could be something someone said to you, a look someone gave you when you were doing something. It could be the smallest thing. It could be you viewed it as other than within you, as less than, not enough. And now that you have that, I want you to sort of hold it, but as if you're shifting it to the side just a little bit. So it's still there, you're still holding it, and I want you to continue to breathe in the light. We're holding this. It's sort of a pause. Breathe in the light. And as you're breathing in this beautiful crystalline diamond rainbow light, I want you to imagine that your heart is breathing this light with you as you are breathing it into your lungs and exhaling it. Your heart is breathing in and out at the same time. And I want you to remember, by placing your attention and focus on your heart space, I want you to remember the wholeness that you are by feeling that light. And if you feel blocked to it, everyone has a healing team and a high self. Ask them to help you clear it so that you can do this. I'm just going to call them all in. Anyone who's feeling blocked, my healing team, everyone's healing team, all the high self collective, soul team collective, let's go ahead and assist everyone to clear those heart blockages so we can feel the light of our soul just by breathing into it and putting our attention and focus on it. And sometimes that feels very expansive, right? You'll feel your energy expanding, and you've still got this one part that feels really shadowed and dark that you're just holding. And I want you to feel the juxtaposition of the light of your soul through your heart and this part of you that you've been saying is other than. Observe that juxtaposition. Feel it, see it, sense it, know it, intend that it's there. And now what we're going to do is we're going to bring that stuff, all of it, you can pile it up on there, whatever those things are, we're going to bring it into the wholeness of the core of our light. Just by holding the intention that we are bringing those other thans, those less thans, those not enoughs, those not wholeness parts that we have thought about ourselves and others, we're bringing them into the light of our core of our soul. And as we do this, we're releasing the resistance and attachment to it. So we're shifting into that neutrality and love and bringing that in. And we're allowing ourselves to feel the frequency shift as it happens within us. Feel, see, sense, know, intend that it is happening. And observing and observing and observing and observing until that big column of shadow consciousness, whatever it was, is no longer that density within us, that extreme duality within us. It's now frequency matching with the wholeness that it always is and that it always was. And you might start to, as your heart is still breathing in the light, the crystalline diamond rainbow light, you might start to observe that you feel lighter, like a big weight has been lifted off of you, that you feel brighter, finer, higher. Just continue to allow the shift. And then I'm going to hand it back to Neil in just a moment because he wants to wrap it up and I don't want him to be late. So what I will say to you is this is a practice you can do anytime with anything you observe that you are self-judging, that you are judging externally, the other selves, any of that. Feel free to just shift into this and breathe it in, bring it back into the wholeness. Let everything sort of rebalance, reharmonize. And now with the final breath, we are holding the intention that we are fully balanced and harmonized on all layers and levels, and that we are fully integrated and anchored in our wholeness and our harmony. And that's it. That's something you can do easy, right? Thank you, Neil.
Hmm.
And
Beautiful. Thank you, Bridget. And actually, I extended my thanks. I have a few more minutes, so I'm going to close out with poetry because I wanted to do that. But Bridget, I think we did a good job these last 3 days. It was really great. I really enjoyed it. And it's just, we create this stuff. And I want to thank you so much because even though, like, when just knowing you and just knowing like the whole galactic speciesism thing and how that's been a part of my journey, trying to really speak about that, and also the darkness, and a lot of people that wake up sometimes are afraid of the darkness or push it away and try to go into joy. So I just really appreciate that you and I can like really resonate on that. And if it
Mhm.
wasn't for you and your inspiration and your regression, I would never have done this, you know. And I told you I was going to do it to hold myself accountable to do it.
I
So
love
I was
it.
like, I'm gonna do this and created it. So I want to, I know, right? So I just want to say thank you so much for being an inspiration to me. You're really huge inspiration. I love you very much.
Oh, Neil, received. You are an inspiration as well. And I just want to say, you are an inspiration
Thank you.
for all of us speakers, but also all of your portal family that we've created. You've, you've, you are a core. You're like the sun, you know? And I just want to honor you. All the expansion that
Thank
you're
you.
doing in your world, you're bringing into everyone else, and you're bringing all of us, giving us voices to to serve the missions and purposes that we're here for. And that is something so magical. And aside from all of that,
Thank you.
Neil, you're a beautiful person, and I just love you. And I'm so grateful for you. Or additional to all of that. Yes, my team was like, aside. The human word came out wrong. They're like,
Thank you so much.
additional to all of that. Yes. I love you so
Thank you,
much.
Bridget.
I
All right.
love all of
I love you
you.
too. All
Thank
right.
you, Neil. And let's play some more. I love this. I've had so
We'll
much
talk
fun.
soon. We're
Mhm.
gonna play a lot more. We're gonna do a lot more. All right. Talk later, Bridget. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. So as I said, we're gonna close out with some poetry. Have the comments come in, share everything now. And what I want to do is because we're talking about the darkness in these two poems that I wrote many years ago, like 13, 14, maybe more. And one's called Duality, and one's called Delusional. And you'll just see within this, and this is like me and how I gravitate towards darkness, even in my poetry. But it's not darkness is an evil, it's darkness is in the vastness of space, the void, the black hole. And so this right here, I feel is just in alignment with everything. And just to be a little more aesthetic, because I love shows and entertainment, we're gonna go ahead and put on some visuals for this. So we'll do the galaxy, but I think for the first one, we'll go ahead and we will spin and levitate on top of a lotus. There we go. All right. So this first poem I'm going to do, it's called Duality. Just want to invite everybody to take a deep breath in, the integrative breath of all everything that we experience over these 3 days or even just today. It's okay if sometimes you see darkness. Just remember it teaches us what light is and how much we miss it when the absence of presence eternal resting place for all aquatic bodies. I am every and nobody. I know everything and nothing at all. I am hate and I am love, fear and trust, pain and bliss, love and lust, sex and a kiss. I am what has been seen, what will always be, and what will never become. The slumber of delirium. I am the illusion of reality that we think we are in. I am the confusion of duality of war when no one truly wins. I am pollution of intellect youth where we believe all we do is sin. I am the fusion of like minded souls who together will transcend. I am spirituality and organized religion. I am the perception of consciousness manifested into this dimension. I am the lesson, transcend fear and aggression, achieve ascension. I am the New World Order. I am the world full of borders. testing my commitment to the recycled universe. I am loyal and I have betrayed, lied, killed, pillaged, loved and tortured, hated, lusted, trusted, incarnated and nurtured. All experiences in this universe is you and me, you and I. We are all of this. I am the perfect circle, split by the white light and twisted to form the infinite. You see, I am all that is. 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 The cosmic delusion. A dark and delirious mind. Delusional inside. Two voices that oppose each other. A conscious reminder to ease the mind. It's okay, Neil. It's okay to think. Let the mind wander. Let the villages get plundered. Devastation of the external. While inside there exists lightning and thunder. Faster than the speed of thought, tired now to have continuously fought against myself for my entire life, the same rhetoric pushed down my side, a thorn in my own side. Just one of the many timelines in my soul's existence I will ride, climbing higher, growing lighter. The fear of death. But this one is a fighter. Holding on. Don't want to let go yet, having to recite the eightfold path precepts to keep the balance amongst the cosmic dust that is in all of us. I gave up and then I re-empowered to take control of the linearity of minutes and hours. I devour worlds and I spit out universes and create galaxies from the words that I speak. Casting spells from the tongue, the last human. Since the beginning of creation, we have been here. Incarnated many times to shift the vibration from fear into the energy of unconditional love that hasn't been fully expressed in this third dimension. I know why I exist. I know why I'm alive. I feel alive. But the dream is as powerful as death. I feel alive, but the dream is as powerful as death. We will still wake up to another life when we take our last breath. We will still wake up to another life when we take our last breath. Deep breath in, everybody. Deep, deep breath in. Exhale out. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for being here, part of the last 3 days. I had an incredible depth of experience with you guys, and this was more than I could have even expected. We went for 7 hours and 3 days. Watch it back, youtube.com, Portal to Ascension, galacticoriginscruise.com to join us on the cruise, portaltoascension.org if you're not signed up to our newsletter. And I love you. You know, I love you. We had a really, man, this was great. I'm really happy. I'm going to be on a good one all day today. So I love you all so much. Have a beautiful rest of your day and talk soon. Bye-bye.